I left the lounge near midnight, carrying my bag, slightly drunk and more than a bit stoned. I used the elevator, not trusting myself to be able to negotiate the stairs in my current condition, and took it up to the second floor where our rooms were located. I made my way carefully to my room, pausing for a moment outside Mad's room, listening as she and Tyrese got to know each other better quite loudly. I smirked a little and then continued to my room. Room 212. I unlocked the door with the key Ray gave me and entered, seeing it for the first time. It was simple but comfortable, decorated in the same rustic style as the rest of the lodge. There was a single bed, a dresser, desk, and a small bathroom. Lying atop my bedspread was a copy of the screenplay for Videvo #31172, along with an expensive-looking new smartphone, just as Ray had promised. I set them both on the bedside table, not feeling up to giving the phone a closer look right then. I lay down on top of the bed, still dressed in the clothes I had arrived in, and instantly passed out. I woke up around 8 the next morning, sunlight filling the window. I was hungover, but I didn't feel nearly as bad as I had feared I would. I went into the bathroom and took a long shower, feeling better after I emerged. I unpacked my bag and dressed in a sweater and jeans, and then remembering my new phone, I picked it up and looked it over. As Ray had said, it had HD video recording capability, but its communication functions had been disabled so that I couldn't make calls, text, or access the internet. I sat it down, and then, feeling hungry, I decided to go downstairs and see what the lodge had in the way of breakfast. I took the elevator down and stepped out into the lobby, glancing at my map. There was a spacious dining room to my right or left as you faced the elevators, the entrance next to the stairway. I started in that direction and then stopped, spotting something out of the corner of my eye. I looked up. Mounted high on the wall in the corner across from the elevators was a brand new, high-tech digital video camera, a small red light blinking steadily. None of us had noticed it the evening before. Looking straight ahead, I could see several others mounted at strategic locations down the length of the lobby. I remembered Ray telling us that he, and presumably his technician, had installed these cameras throughout the lodge in the areas we were supposed to be filming in, although he had assured us in one of the studio meetings that there would be none in any of our personal quarters to respect our privacy, and that they were already activated and recording. Feeling a little self-conscious, I headed into the dining area where I found Tim, Mad, Tyrese, and Seth already sitting at one of the tables, looking none the worse for wear after our little bash in the lounge last night. Marie had tasked herself with being the cook and was in the kitchen off the dining room preparing breakfast. It was surprisingly good, if a little exotic to the rest of us. A traditional French-Canadian dish called bacon mushroom frittatas and crepes. Marie was quite skilled as a chef, having had to take over cooking duties for her mother and mentally challenged younger sister after her father had died and her mother had had to work full-time. Tyrese and Mad were sitting across from each other, not making eye contact, looking more than a little awkward and embarrassed after their drunken escapade together the previous evening. We teased them about it some, and Tyrese played it cool, but Mad's cheeks flushed and I can tell she was not amused. On the other hand, Marie and Seth seemed to have made some real chemistry as a couple. They sat together trading smiles and whispering in each other's ear. We ate and made small talk and joked around for a while and then got down to business. Tim took out the shooting schedule and shot list. We were set to begin filming later that day near sunset. The rest of the movie would be shot entirely at night. The first scene was to be recorded on our phone cameras of our fictional selves arriving at the lodge, breaking in, and taking some establishing footage of us exploring. One odd thing that I noticed was that, according to the schedule, we were supposed to be filming this movie in sequence. To explain, for those of you not familiar with how filmmaking is traditionally done, most films are not shot in chronological order of the script for a variety of reasons, such as actor scheduling and location availability. For example, scene 56 might be set on a spaceship with actors A and B, and scene 34 might take place in the presidential Oval Office with actors C and D. But because they only have so much time to work with actors A and B, they will film their scene on the spaceship before scene 34. Make sense? However, we were shooting our film in the order of the first scene to the last, which was not a normal practice. We just chalked it off to Ray's unorthodox production style and his unique vision for this flick. Maybe he thought that by capturing the action in real time, it would improve our performances and make the film seem more realistic. Plus, we didn't exactly have a continuity person on hand if we made mistakes, so Why not film in linear fashion? After all, we were pretty much stuck here for the duration and the lodge itself wasn't going anywhere. Eventually, we got to the elephant in the room and Seth said, "So when exactly do we meet old Mr. Slashy anyway?" It was a good question. One we were all asking ourselves. After our first cast meeting a month ago, Ray had explained to us that we wouldn't be meeting the actor portraying the only other character in the film, the antagonist, a killer referred to in the screenplay only as Masked Killer, until it was time for us to film the first death scene, which was Matt's. He told us it was to add the killer's air of mysteriousness, and to make our reactions and thus our character's fear more believable. He wouldn't even tell us the actor's name, only that he would arrive a couple days after we did and wouldn't appear to us until the script called for it. Tim replied, "Well, according to the script, Matt's the first one to get offed, and that isn't scheduled till tomorrow night, so that would be my guess." "Great," she muttered, and I can tell she was not pleased at the idea of having the honor to be the first of us to meet our as-yet unseen co-star. "This is a very strange production, isn't it, guys?" Marie said in her slightly stilted English, and then added, "It's very weird." She said the last word after a pause, selecting it carefully. "True that," Tyrese said through a mouthful of food, nodding. "I don't care how weird it is, just as long as Ray's not bullcrapping us about the $100,000, Matt added. "This whole thing's probably just some kind of marketing gimmick to boost interest. Independent horror films pull crap like this all the time," Seth theorized. "Yeah, probably," I replied, although I still felt a little troubled by all this. We didn't do much the rest of the morning and afternoon. After breakfast, we split up and continued exploring the lodge. The top 3 floors were all guest rooms with a large executive suite on the top floor reserved for VIPs or particularly wealthy visitors. All the doors were locked and we only had keys to our own rooms. Back downstairs, I tried the door marked administration behind the registration desk but found it locked and moved on. Past the kitchen was a small staff break room with a TV on the wall, a couch, coffee maker, and a Coke machine and snack machine. Just off the dining room, there was a small gift shop, and beyond that was a corridor that led to a pair of showers and changing rooms for guests in the rear of the lodge. Next door was an indoor swimming pool along with a sauna and jacuzzi. I spotted more surveillance cameras in each of the rooms, including a couple I didn't even think were supposed to be filming in, which puzzled me. Although I just shrugged and figured maybe they had made a mistake. "Yo!" I heard Tyrese call out from the lobby while I was coming back through the dining room. "Check this out." I came into the lobby and found Tyrese and the others gathered around a now open administration door. "How'd you guys get that open?" I asked. I thought it was locked." "It was," Tyrese said, grinning, a little shamefaced. "But I know a thing or two about lockpicking." "Are you crazy?" I said, appalled. "If that door was locked, it was clearly off limits to us. You're gonna get us all in trouble. We could go to jail." "Relax, I can lock it again after we're done and no one will know. I just wanted to see what was on the other side." I joined the group and looked through the doorway. A plain hallway led down to the closed door labeled Lodge Director. There were several other doors on either side of the hallway. "Let's check it out," Tyrese said and started through the door. "No, wait a minute. What if we trip an alarm or something?" "Then we'll book out, I lock the door, and when the police arrive, we can just say that we were never in there and it must have been a malfunction." "This is stupid. You're gonna get us in trouble. And even if we don't end up in jail, Ray will find out and he'll be pissed. He might even fire us." "Look, we're just gonna take a look and then we'll be right back out. I don't see any alarms, and more importantly, I don't see any of them freaky cameras like they got in the rest of this place. No one will know. So chill." And with that, he stepped through the door and the others followed him. Reluctantly, I went after them, looking back first to make sure none of the cameras Ray had put in the lobby had a direct line of sight to the administration door. It didn't look like any of them did. The first 2 rooms in the hallway were a record room on the right with a lot of filing cabinets and a utility room on the left with a large number of cleaning supplies and a custodian's mop and bucket, the kind on wheels with an attached wringer. The next 2 rooms were offices, the one on the right slightly bigger and better appointed than the other one on the left. We assumed they belonged to the lodge's assistant manager, director, and accountant, respectively. Finally, we came to the final door at the end of the hallway, the one marked Lodge Director. Tyrese tried the knob and found it locked. With a shrug, he pulled a lockpick out of his back pocket and set about picking the lock, ignoring my outraged protests. After a moment, with a click, the lock opened and he swung wide the door. We looked in, but none of us entered. The office inside was much larger than the other two and quite luxurious, with a large polished mahogany desk, leather-upholstered chairs, and lush red carpeting. Tyrese whistled appreciatively.
This is some high living right here. Real first-rate stuff.
Okay, I said nervously. You've seen it. Now let's go. Yeah, he muttered and began to pull the door shut. Just before it closed, my eyes fell on something. I only saw it for a second. On the desk was a rather messy stack of files that stood out in sharp contrast to the otherwise immaculate office. I couldn't be sure, but in that brief glimpse, I thought I counted 6 files. And there was something else. Next to the stack of files was an ashtray, and in that ashtray was a large, half-smoked cigar.